Greetings. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Still on the road. I want to delve into, at the end of the video, if you don't mind, a like, share, or a comment. Thanks for tuning in again. I would like to speak on children that are coming out of college, who were promised a future in this world, in this country. They did everything that they were told to do, stay out of trouble, and they borrowed all this money for student loans. Whereas if they don't pay it back, the government vowed that they would pay the money back to the banks. And the POTUS is up and down about whether he's going to forgive their loans or not. It is stated that you could tell where a country is going by the education that they receive. Unless you have sanctions against you, because there's free education in Cuba, but what can they do when their hands are tied? But children are coming out of college with no hope. And it started back years ago. Individuals were coming out of college with master's degrees, can't find work, making $15 an hour. And with this inflation, they had dreams of buying a home. All of that's gone. It's been stolen. It's been taken from them. Those are coming out of college now who have studied hard. Can you imagine what is going through their minds? They had dreams and hopes of buying a home, getting married, having a wedding, just like what we did years ago. Having a family. That's gone. They're moving back home with their parents, or they're enlisting in the military. And with the education, you can go into the military as an officer, but I don't recommend it, because I'm going to talk about a video or documentary that I saw about a veteran that is saying, don't believe the hype about joining the military. And I know for certain that you cannot study while you're in there, because you're working. You can see them loading up these airplanes with weapons to go overseas, and they just slaving. It's like hard labor. So is that what they're doing? Hard labor. You can't go to school. If you believe all the hype, and once you get in there, and once you become a veteran, that you're treated different, if at all, than the enlisted. And so much is happening in the military with their soldiers. Missing people, death, murder, documentaries about it. I'm not talking about anything new. It's horrible in there. It's just horrible. It's just... But back to the schooling. They're coming out of college with nothing to look forward to. So a lot of them are turning to drugs. It can't work. Can you imagine? What do they have to look forward to? And they said that the system, the baby boomers failed them. They did. They knew about a lot of things. The upcoming situations upon the world, if they didn't act back then in the 50s and 60s, what will be going on right now. And then all that we're going through right now was planned. When we were having a good time in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, everything that we're going through now was planned. They knew exactly what we were going to be going through. They talked about this in their meetings. So they knew that their children, their grandchildren, we're not going to have a future or a life in this world. What can they do? AI is going to take over. Everything is going to be Jetson, that cartoon that came out in the 60s. But they family, they children, and the multi-billionaires and the millionaires, they know what's going to happen. So these entertainers, you know, Queen Bee and all of them, they know. And they can't say anything to their people. They can only continue to make videos and entertain us and keep us entertained. They work for the government, and they here to keep us entertained. That's it for today. What do our children go to school for? What are they going to learn? They can't even buy a house. They living at home with their parents again. What do? They got to be bitter and angry. And that's why they allow all these protests in the street, for them to vent off their anger. They are very angry at what is happening in this world. Peace, people, if you can find it. That's just those who are going to college, even from Africa. People from Africa are going to college in Norway, and we just found out they in Ukraine, China, everywhere. And that's a shame that Africans don't have their own colleges. All the resources that they had, all the broken promises that were given to them. Colleges, they don't want you to go to school. Don't you know that? Knowledge is power. People are going to school all over the world for what? Peace, if you can find it. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Give me a like, share, and a comment. Peace.